Everyone. Welcome to welcome to Trading Together. I am Mel Gacee, and I am so happy that you have joined me. We are welcoming everybody this morning on a beautiful Christmas Eve, and I just wish you all such beautiful holidays. I hope that you have time with loved ones and friends, and I hope that you really get to enjoy what's truly important, and that's the beauty of the loved ones around you. So that's my wish for you all at this holiday season, and so glad that you're here with me this morning. So we're going to talk about the market and what we're doing on this Christmas Eve. And we are first and foremost closing early today. Keep that in mind. Today is a half a day for the markets. So we will close at 1 p.m. Eastern. Something to bear in mind is that as we are taking trades, and we do take zero DTE trades, remember that zero DTE means they're going to expire today. Trades that you take zero DTE expire today. So what we're doing is trades are going to expire, options are going to expire worthless, right? So when you're taking those trades, bear in mind that as today is an early day, these options are going to expire earlier, meaning that this time decay, or we would call it theta, is going to eat away at the value of your option even more quickly. So it's a good idea to take, if you're going to trade at all, maybe take Friday expirations. They're going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's not going to hurt you very much. They're not super expensive today. Now we're moving pretty slowly in the market this morning. We did run up and tag another new all-time high, right? That is amazing. So let's take a quick look at the SPX and talk about what that looks like. Here we are. I'm going to put it in this box right here, and I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it. All right, this is our daily chart, and I'll switch it over to the SPX. All right. So what's happening is that we had an all-time high that we had made right here. So this is our daily chart of the SPX, which is the S&P 500, the index, right? Remember, the index is the basket that holds 500 of the best stocks. So the S&P 500 came up and made an all-time high on October the 29th. After that, we immediately came down to this temporary low that we made right here at 65.30-ish. And then since then, we've had this big bounce. We got this little bear bait rollover here, you could call it, and then another very strong bounce into this Santa rally season. And what did we do today? Boom, we hit that new all-time high. The high that was set here on the 29th was set at 69.20 on the SPX. Today, we hit just 4 points higher, almost 5, at 69.24. So, and we've been kind of just very slowly grinding up today. Very low volume on Christmas Eve, but a very slow grind, and that new high did get hit. So that's a big deal. Where do we go from here? Chances are good that we could see 7,000 on the SPX before the year end, and that's only just a few days away, but it's very possible. The options positioning would suggest we could get that high by the year end. So something to bear in mind. And if you're here, I would love it if you would say hi in the chat. I'd love to get to know you, and I would love to answer any questions or comments that you might have. This space, I've designed this space, this stream, to be a safe and informative place to learn trading options, to learn how to day trade options. So that is my goal. I want to appeal to traders of all levels, but I really want this to be a place where newer learners can feel safe and can learn some things about the market. So Wes, good morning. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. All right. So, that being said, we have hit the new all-time high. Where are we going from here? I think we could hit 7,000 by the end of the year, which is only just a few days away. So let's take a look at these minute charts again, and we'll see what kind of trading we can do today. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to be really cautious on trades today because we are sitting on low volume. Now, we have been moving up, so I have been bullish today. So I have taken a couple of trades and I've not made very much at all. My trades have been small and tiny wins. But, I don't expect to win a lot on a half a day with low volume. Excuse me. So I'm not too worried about it. What's more important is not risking too much capital, right? If we are day trading, which we are, and we are scalping, and we are buying 0 days to expiration options on a half a day, we need to be careful that we don't wind up getting stuck in a choppy sideways market. Now, as of right now, it's been pretty consistently moving upward all morning long. But at some point, it'll top out and it'll go sideways, or probably sideways, or possibly downwards. So for me, I don't want to get stuck whenever it does find its top. We don't know where that is yet. It's still looking for it. So we're still up at 69.24. It's still looking for its top. We don't know where that's going to be. But when it does find it, we are probably going to move sideways, would be my guess. And that's kryptonite for the day trader. Sideways markets are kryptonite for the day trader. So I'm super careful with those. I try to stay out of those as much as possible. And so on a half day, slow day, my mode is going to be caution today. Okay. Now, I've taken a few calls today, probably 3 or 4 different calls, because as you can see, let me make this screen a little bit bigger for you. As you can see, we've been slowly climbing upward all day. And like I said, we don't know where the top is. Another little push up to 69.24, almost 69.25 it looks like. So you can see very slow grind and go today on lower volume, and that's okay. We can still make money, but the options are moving slowly. I've only made just a couple of percent this morning on any trade. So not a lot of money to be made today, but that's okay. That's all right. We're not losing money, and cash is a position. Remember that cash is a position. The most important thing about trading is preserving your capital. All right, we're getting a little push up here. Could we consider calls? Yes, we could consider calls, but remember, we're at an all-time high and we don't know where we're stopping. So at any point, we can see the market level off or move downward. So that's where we've got to be cautious on taking any new trades. It looks like a no-brainer, right? When you look at this chart, it looks like a no-brainer. We're just climbing. But when we're at all-time highs, we don't know where we're stopping. And that's when you get into trouble. You never want to buy the top, right? And you can see this move is pretty extended. It's been going on. Well, it's been going on all day. We got a little teeny pullback right here, but this upward thrust has been going on all day at a very slow pace. So it looks like a no-brainer, but like I said, you just don't know where we top out, and that's, you don't want to buy the top, right? So what I would like to see is another one of these, some kind of a pullback, even if it's tiny. A little pullback would be helpful if we were going to get long, if we were going to take a call. So that would be nice. And we are just slowly grinding this high, right? So now we're sitting at 69.25. So just very slowly grinding that high upward. And it's been teeny little upward candles. So again, what I'm looking for here is some sort of a pullback, even a small one, even a little teeny pullback here so that we could get in. We don't want to buy and get stopped out. All right, so the other thing I'm looking at today is some mixed signals in the Mag 7. Now remember, the Mag 7 is those top tech stocks that make up 40% of the S&P 500, the big titans: Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, Google, Nvidia, the big guys, the big dogs. So I watch those guys every day to see what direction the market could be going in. Sometimes the mags lead us, and sometimes the SPY leads us, and they take turns. But today we're getting just a little bit of divergence where the mags are as a whole, there's an ETF called mags that pulls all 7 of those together in one ETF. And so I watched that one. And I also watch the individual tickers, but the mags ETF is down just a bit, just under its flat line. So that's something to be aware of. With the SPY climbing up, the mags is down a bit, something to be aware of. Right. And I imagine on a day like today, we're popping a little bit here. I imagine the big money turns on their little buy algo and heads off to their winter home in the Hamptons and enjoys their snowy Christmas. It's just my imagination of how the big money, the big traders spend their holidays. But looks to me like just a very slow grind and go today until it's not, right? Until it's not. So 69.26 is our new all-time high. And I'm going to be patient and wait for a small pullback. Any little pullback would be nice. You're right, Wes. You're right. Their winter homes do not get 200 plus days of sunshine. And are you in Colorado as well, Wes? I'm in Colorado. We get lots of sunny days. All right, another new push here. We're in the same city? Oh, awesome. Okay, fantastic. Well, good to know you, neighbor. I love that. All right, the other thing to notice is that the VIX is in the basement. Oof. 13.5 on the VIX. We have not been below 14 in a year. So that is something to be aware of. The VIX is the lowest we've seen in over a year. So here's the thing with the VIX. We can stay suppressed for a long period of time. The VIX can float sideways for a long time at 12, 13, 14. Usually, if we get too much below 12, we can start to expect a spike up, meaning that as the VIX spikes up, the market comes down. So VIX is very, very low. And even though we're heading into the Santa rally, and I believe that we're going to get it, we are getting it, I do think that we are at risk for a sudden spike down, something to be aware of. When the VIX does those spikes, they come out of left field. They come out of nowhere. So when we see the VIX down here at 13 and a half, we got to pay attention because, and I'll show you the daily chart here in just a minute. All right, looks like we finally are getting some kind of a little pullback here. Finally. Been watching this thing climb forever at a teeny, teeny little snail's pace. All right, so let's see what we do with this little slowdown. Is it going to give us another shot at moving up, or is it actually going to start to come down here? That's what we have to discern. Little bit of a downward move here, just little. Hasn't gone far at all. 2 points down off the top it just made. So let's see 2 ways that this can go. Well, 3 really. It can decide to go sideways if we've hit our top and it just wants to float the rest of the day at our new highs. It can decide to move down and give us a little downward spike, or it can give us another leg up. So we'll see what it's trying to do here. All right, and then while we're kind of waiting on that, we can take a look at the daily on the VIX, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Remember, the VIX is the volatility index. It measures options on the S&P 500, which is the index. The VIX goes out and looks at options a month out. It measures those options and it gauges the fear or the complacency in the market. As the VIX starts to climb up, it's registering fear in the market. When we see that happen, when the VIX begins to climb, we would expect to see the market come down. When the market or the VIX begins to come down, we expect to see the market go up, which is exactly what we see right now. Market is climbing, VIX is shrinking. So I track the VIX daily and I watch what it's doing, and I've got, let me expand this out. This is only 1 year. I'm looking at the daily on the VIX. I'm going to give this a couple more years. Let's do 5 years. And looks like we could get another push up here. $69.27. I think I'm going to try a small call, but I'm not going to do anything too expensive or too big because we are at the top and it's just creeping up. So if anything, I'm only going to be expecting a couple of points of profit at the best because it's been just slowly creeping. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to get, I'm going to buy December 26th, 689 calls. And I'm not going to get a very big position. I'm not in it just yet, but I am in it now. So go ahead and punch it if you're in, but it should be a small trade. And again, only looking for a very small win. All right. Great question, Wes, asking what kind of wins should we shoot for on low volume days? Honest truth, Wes, I have only been taking 2 or 3% today. And that's, honestly, I don't expect to make much on a day like today. Although we have been climbing pretty consistently, but the options are also moving very slowly. So in answer to that, I've been taking 2 to 4% wins today. Really, really very small nominal wins because I'm okay with making lunch money basically is what I will plan to make today is lunch money. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and get out here at 2%. It's nothing. It's nothing, right? But I'll take it. Small positive days. Yeah, exactly. They add up. They add up. The main idea on a day like today, to be honest, the main idea for me on a day like today, preserve capital. I'm not going to risk a lot of money. I'm not going to risk risky positions because it's moving very slowly with little volume. It could turn around at any time. We're sitting at all-time highs. We could get a big drop. So for me, today is about managing risk and preserving capital. A little bit of lunch money is fine, but I'm not probably going to plan on making much today, to be honest with you. Okay, let's take a look at this VIX. All right, you can see, and I've got some lines drawn here. I'll stretch this out for you. You can see that we've been sitting. So this is the daily on the VIX, and I've got it going back 5 years. The most recent support zone has been right here in the 14. So 14.2, and it goes all the way back to last year, right? We did dip below it here, and that's what I'm going to point out. But for this year, we have not gotten below this 14 level until yesterday and today. This is the first time we've seen this low this year, the whole year. Down below 14 on the VIX is setting up for a spike, meaning setting up for a drop in the market. Now, if we look at the last time we were this low, here is when that happened. This was November of last year, 2024. Came down 1 or 2 days and then spiked up and then came back down for a few days. Looks like maybe 2 weeks here. It it kind of dipped below this 14 zone, and then look at this spike. Boom. That was December the 18th of last year. Big spike. So we did not stay below 13, 14 very long. And in both cases, we got a spike, meaning in both cases, we got a dip in the market. So this has my attention. Now, we can stay below 14 for a good amount of time. We've done it. Back here, we did it for a long time. So back here in 2024, we were down here in the 11 and 12 zone, and we were there for a long time. But more recently, the floor has been set at 14. So that's definitely got my attention. We can go lower. Usually when we see that we get below 12 on the VIX, that's when I really start preparing for a spike. If we get below 12 on the VIX, right now we're at 13 and a half. So basically the point I'm making here is the VIX can spike at any time, and that will equate to a quick flash crash in the market. Doesn't mean we have to go far. It doesn't mean we have to dump. It doesn't mean bear market. It just means when we see the VIX spike, we can get a flash crash in the market, and could be short or long. You don't know, but just something to be aware of. So as we climb these all-time highs, the VIX is really getting pushed down into the basement, and it's something we need to be aware of. Now, we can go and look at what that spike looked like. Let's take a look at December 18th on 2024. I'll put the chart up here so you can see it over each other. We'll go put a daily on here on the SPY, and we'll go out 2 years. Okay. So December 18th was our spike after we went sub 14 here for a couple of days. We spiked on December 18th. What did the market do on December 18th? Right there. Look at that big red candle. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. December 18th, right there. So see how the VIX really correlates to the market. So this was our spike on the VIX, December 18th. This was our dump in the market. We went from 6065 down to 586. So basically $20 drop on the SPY. That's a big drop. That's not little. That's a big drop. Little, what we would call little flash crash. And then we did recover. The smaller spike that happened earlier was on 1120. That one is right here. So we saw a dip down, nowhere near as drastic, but a good dip down on 1120 when we saw this little pop on the VIX at 1120. So basically the idea is just be aware that we are below support and that we could expect to see a spike. It could, but like I said, it could take a while. We can be sub support for a long time on the VIX. Just something to keep your eyes on. All right, 69.28 on the S&P 500, the SPX. Still just slowly grinding here. Looking like it could be slowing down a little bit. Let's see if we try to make some sort of a little top here. It's possible. These candles are just itty bitty, super teeny. Not much movement at all. So let's see if we start to slow down a bit here. Where's our last high at? It's sitting at 69.29. So we beat the last high by 9 points, and it's been a pretty slow grind. All right. VIX giving us a little move here, but not much. Little move. Hit a current bottom at 13.5. So let's see. Still climbing. Here it goes. Let's see if we get any kind of slowing here. Starting to see the VIX look a little bit different. 690 is the tag. 690.01. So again, kind of back to that, do we take calls here at the all-time highs? It's something I'm going to wait on. I'm going to see if we start getting some pullback somewhere. They're just not giving us one at all right now. All right. There's a little bit of volume here. Finally, see a little bit of volume. So while this is very slowly grinding, I am waiting for a little pullback here. Another thing you can do on a day like this is you can buy a small call and just let it go. I call that a runner, something that's not too expensive, and just kind of let it go and see where it winds up. The idea with a runner is you don't want to spend too much on it. You don't want it to cost you if this thing turns around on you, you don't want it to cost you too much, but it's a nice way of collecting a little bit of, money when this thing continues to climb, if it does, which it has been all day. A runner can make you a few bucks. It's not going to make you a ton, but it can make you a few bucks. So that's not a bad idea on a day like today. And there we are, 69.31, strong push. I mean, I say strong. These candles are tiny, but stronger than it's been here in a few minutes. So on the next little pullback, I might consider just putting a runner out there just to see how far they're going to grind this up. We need to see a pullback. That's key. And we haven't seen, look at like two little red candles, these tiny little red candles in a sea of green here. It's crazy. All right, give us a little pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles. Maybe we'll get a red one here. Maybe not. Yeah, just series of, wow. Okay, look at that. Wow. New all-time high. Lunch money. Yeah, lunch money is right. All right. The other ticker that I watch pretty closely is Bitcoin. I'm pretty bullish in the whole crypto space. So I've been watching Bitcoin, and we hit a bottom in the 80s. We really dropped hard. Bitcoin lost a lot off of the top. It was up at like 124K. It dropped all the way down to 80, and then kind of has been stabilizing between 86 and 90, just kind of fluctuating. But it seems like it's found a bottom. So I am bullish on Bitcoin. I think we will see the crypto market move up more in 2026. All right. Little red candle. Yeah, both, Wes. Great question. Asking if it's due to the market or the policy on the crypto. I think it's both. Um, I think that crypto was suppressed. I think there's been a lot of institutional adoption, a lot of big money getting into crypto, big ETFs coming through, BlackRock putting one through. So I think that there has been a lot of institutional adoption, and I think that crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, was suppressed to, in my opinion, I got my tinfoil hat on again, but I think it has been suppressed to allow big money to get in at a cheaper price. I think once they're in, I think we're going to see it turn back up. And I do think it is also the really friendly policy of the administration that we have. Trump is very friendly to crypto. The SEC guy is friendly to crypto. So I do think that there's a change in the mindset of the administration, of the governors, governing people, but also just the population in general, I think, has become more familiar and open to the idea of crypto. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. All right. Looking a bit overbought here on the RSI. Quite a bit overbought. So I'd be expecting some kind of a move sideways or downward to reset this RSI. It's pretty high. I'll show you. I'll put the RSI on here so you can see it. So here's the RSI right here. We got as high as 86. That's pretty high. Right now sitting at 78, 77, 78. Still overbought. Very, very overbought. Does the market care? Doesn't seem to. Usually when we see the RSI, now you can see it's been overbought for a while, in and out, in and out. But usually once it's overbought, you will see some kind, either moves sideways and resets or it comes down a little bit. So we should see that here soon. And VIX could be giving us a little bottom here. Let's see if that's true. We still haven't beaten that 13.5 bottom on the VIX. This thing just doesn't want to stop, does it? I'm just setting up an indicator over here on my other charts. Okay. I think I am going to just put maybe a runner out there. Again, you never know when it's the top. But it doesn't look like it's slowing down to me. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. Here we go. Finally. All right. Finally, a teeny little pullback here. Not even a pullback, just a little slowdown. Slow and steady thus far. Exactly right, Wes. Just very slow and steady climb. However, I am seeing the VIX here starting to give us a little bottoms, looking a little like it's bottoming out. So let's see if we start to get some kind of a topping pattern here. 69.33 on the SPX. And I wouldn't necessarily bet against this climb. So if this thing does roll over, would I take puts? Not necessarily. We're a good bit over the VWAP here. So I'd want to see us get a little bit more oomph behind it. We're getting a little slowdown, so that's good. But I would want to see it to play it to the downside. I'd want to see a little bit more strength, right? All right. It's given us, so finally we're seeing the RSI start to push back down here. We're still overbought, but it's starting to reset itself. We're getting the MACD giving us a little red, just a little one right here. Yep. And like I said, these are the days that can really hurt you as a scalper or a day trader. Getting stuck in something that may or may not be moving is a challenge. All right. There are some early signs of being able to take a put here. But like I said, I would give it a little bit more time and room because So far, this has been a pretty strong upward trend. We're pretty far above the VWAP and we're moving pretty slowly. So I wouldn't necessarily jump on puts here until we see a little bit more conviction. Great question, Wes, asking how much of a pullback would I look for before getting into another trade? Um, I it's going to depend because we've had such a strong bullish run. I would really want to see it come all the way down and come down through this VWAP. Now, that's a big long way down. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't think so. Could we trade a small pullback? Yes, we could, but it's going to be a counter trend trade. So I'm usually cautious with those. I usually try to stay with the trend. Um, and, uh, and it's, could be very short lived, like we're seeing here. So what I'm guessing starts to happen here is we may start building this kind of range and start moving sideways. If the VIX drops down a little bit more, then maybe we climb some more. But right now, we're kind of looking sideways. So my guess is we might just stall out right here and pull sideways. The other thing I like to look at is the volume on the option chain. So if we come over here and look at the option chain, you can see that the major volume is sitting on the call side at the 689s. Now we have the runner-up volume right here at 690. So that tells you, as of at least right now, we may stall out here. The next volume is at 691, but it's much lower compared to the 690s, much lower. On the put side, oops, I don't want to do that. On the put side, we do see volume, but it's like half as much. Because look, we're sitting here at 553,000 on the 689 calls. On the put side, the highest we have is 287,000 at the 688 puts. So almost twice as much volume coming through on the call side, which we would expect, right? Because we've been climbing. But sometimes that'll give you an idea of where the sentiment is. Now, volume can change really fast, so we can't really use it as an indicator. I mean, we can use it in conjunction with our other indicators, but volume changes very quickly. So you don't want to use it as your only indicator, but it'll give you an idea. So right now it's telling us all of the money is sitting at 689 and 690 on the call side, and puts are really dragging up the rear there at half the volume. So that's what we know right now. And that's another reason why I would be careful of any counter trend trade. So anything to the downside would be counter. And that volume is saying there are not that many people, or 2 to 1 on the call side is what we've got. So I'd be more inclined to trade something like this, watching for a pullback and a turn to the upside. But what we want to make sure of is that we are not topping out here. All right. Another little push here. Did we get the VIX any lower? We did not. It came right down to this bottom at 13.5. So let's, oh, there we go. Okay, now the VIX went lower. I might consider getting into a very small runner call and just let that go today. It's possible. So I might do that. I might just put a small runner out there and let it go and see what happens. And again, I think I'm going to do a December 26th just to be on the safe side. They're pretty cheap. Even the 691s are pretty cheap for Friday. So I'm going to put one out there and just let that one go today for a little while. I'm not going to worry too much about it. On these runners, if it goes against me, I'll take the stop, but I'm not putting a lot into it. So it's not going to cost me, it's not going to hurt me. So if you do runners, just make sure you're not spending more than you should. Don't go in on a big position. It's almost a lotto to see, is this thing going to continue to the upside? That's kind of how I view it. So you don't want to spend a lot on it, and you don't want to, put more than you are prepared to lose. I won't let it go to 100% loss, but it's a small position, so it's not going to hurt. Okay. All right. Well, we are coming up to the end of the stream. It's been really fun and nice to have you guys with me. And I appreciate your interaction so much. Thank you, Wes, for being so interactive and asking plenty of questions. I think that helps other viewers as well. And so I always appreciate that. And I'm open to all questions. So thank you for interacting and for being here, everyone. And I really want to wish you all a very, very beautiful holiday season, however you celebrate Christmas, New Year's, whatever you celebrate, or don't. I hope you get some time to enjoy your loved ones and your families, and some time to rest and remember what's important in life. It comes down to the people we love and cherish. So that's my wish for you all. And Wes saying thank you, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You guys have a wonderful holiday season. We will be back. We're taking tomorrow off, of course, for Christmas Day, as the markets will be closed. And we'll be back on Friday at 9 a.m. Mountain, hoping to get a little bit more movement here in this market. We'll see. We'll see if we do. But I appreciate you all and your interaction, and we will be back again on Friday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to everybody. Bye for now.